Hey there, lads and lasses. Let me make a couple of small adjustments here. This is Thunderhand64 coming at you live from the west coast of the United States here on a Friday morning. It is a little bit past 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that can only mean that it's time for some Buffooncraft SMP Season 6. Alrighty, let's switch on over to the display scene. Let's get right into it, shall we? Let's see. Get logged on in here. Where am I? I'm over at Lux's base. Oh my god. That's right. Okay, I think now I could see Drost proper right across the water over there, but I think Lux has a portal here somewhere. Now, I was over here with... Well, let's take a look at this first. I was over here with Sage the other day, discussing his gas rail service that he's putting in, that he's installing. So this runs all the way back to Sage's base. And there are some stops along the way, too, like over at Echo Point and Spawn Island and places like that. Okay. Sage was showing off his animated flag feature that he installed on the boat that he built in over at Lux's base here. And I'll let him show that off on his stream, but it's pretty darn cool. And I was thinking of trying to incorporate that into Baby Zombie Rush somehow, but not in the form of a flag, in the form of something else. So we'll see. That's Wednesday, right? All right, let's... Lux, where is thine portal? I think it's over here, where his happy guest be hovering. Fuck, he wasted no time in getting one of those now, did he? Hey there, fella. Does he have a name? It looks like Gerald of Rivendell. Nice. Don't really know my way around Sage's base. Lux's base here. I guess the path goes over that bridge and under this tree around there. Okay, sure. Most superfluous ice boat track ever. I'm just... Lux. I mean, maybe your thought was, you know, I'll just maintain the aesthetic, but... Oh dear. Anyway, let me see. I think we're going back this way. Oh. Oh, no, hold on. He's very, very close to Center Drost, right? But this is over by... Yeah, okay, here we are. Yeah, he has the front nearly entirely closed in here. Oh, and he put the carpet there. That's cool. That's a cool idea. I like it. All right, so doing a little work on the Nether Hub roof. That's Shut Mountain and others. We're interested, people, in heading back to our own base. Look at this thing go. Little Peachy's place. And here we go. Let's just do that. All right. We'll head on over to here. Have ourselves a look. It's still nighttime, so let's do the sleeping thing. Hello, everyone. The man himself has returned. Let's do our sleeping thing. And it is a beautiful new day on our Mushroom Island base. I guess we should get right on over to here and have ourselves a look. Now, I did install some of the fin features off of the forearm of our Formorian sea giant here. Before I had them all coming out in one straight plane, and it looked okay, but I decided to curve them and have them match the direction and the axis of the arm itself a little bit better. I think it looks better. But it definitely has some angles that look better than others, or some angles that look less better than others. Ow. Okay. Yeah, so we decided to go with something like this. And I did post screenshots of this in the Buffooncraft public Discord, and also in the Buffooncraft channel on my very own Discord for our community as well. So I think this, the claws, the webbing between the fingers, the fins coming out of the forearm, this part is finished. I'm avoiding... Next would be the head, where I'd put a fin on the top, maybe two fins on the side, some gill-like features, and then some sort of dorsal fin down the back or something like that. But since I've already established like the block palette and how I'm going to go about doing this, I think we should move to the underwater part of this hand. I think this would be better. We can get the claws in place on this hand. We can put some webbing between the fingers, and we can extend the fins off. So there would be at least one fin underwater, probably one fin that's breaking the surface here, and then one above the surface up there. So I'm thinking something like that. Excuse me. I'm still pretty ill from this past week, but I'm definitely on the mend. But now it's moved down into the chest and stuff, so still got a bit of a cough. I did take my medicine, so but we'll see if that. This is a rather large build. It really is. So let's get an aerial view, and then we'll stock up our block inventory, and we can just start building on it right away. Fuck. There it is. Now, I did put a glass platform under Gaston up here to catch that lead when it falls, but I think I understand how the leads work now, finally, after all this time. Yeah, you can't be under them. You have to be in front of them because they pop out in the XZ plane first, and then they drop. If you're under them, they go over you and they miss. So we can take out this glass and get this out of the way. Now, of course, you know I've made the claim that I've mastered the leads now with the happy gas, and you know I'm going to screw that up now. Just because I had the audacity to claim that I've mastered it. I now have to be proven otherwise. which I am looking. Right here and right here. We'll take this with us as well. And then we'll take a quick circuit around this and have ourselves a look here. All right, that should do it. Yeah, come on over, buddy. There he is. There he is. A little bit closer. Okay, let's come on around here. Now, the way I've been doing this, I've been successful so far. We'll see what happens. But I find, at least on Generations, if I get close enough to it like this, and I'm in front of it and not under it, then it pops right into my inventory, just like that. If I try to get under it, then I miss it because, again, it goes outward first and then drops downward. So, all right. So the idea is, yeah, to put the webbing between the fingers, to get the claws in there, and then to get these splines jutting out with the webbing behind them. And I decided not to connect them all together, just have the separate finlets or fins on there. I think that looks better. So I'm thinking 3 on each arm like this, right? From the wrist down to the elbow. And so this is good. We already have the block palette somewhat worked out for that. Somewhat established. Now the head's going to be a challenge. Going to have some sort of dorsal fin that comes out the back like this, and then some maybe Godzilla-like fins that go down the back. I was thinking of having one big fin like that, but no, I think separate ones are going to look cooler. It's going to give like a Godzilla reference there. Then on the sides, I might have fins like where the ears go, but I'm not really sure. I think I'm just going to have gill features down on the sides. Like where the jaw would be down through to the neck. And then we're going to have some kind of face. The eyes will be the very, very last thing we build on this. For a very particular reason. But we will have the open mouth down here, like this. So if the skull looks like it's elongated in this axis, it's because the mouth is intended to be open. So the jaw is dropping down, right? So that's the idea there. And so over here, and I'm going to say the eyes, I'll drop one last sort of hint. The eyes have to be the last thing, because if I build the eyes now, I will not be able to mine blocks. And we won't be able to build the rest. Okay, so yeah, so we'll work on this next. We'll put in the claws, same block palette and everything. We'll put in one fin there, one fin intermediate, and then one fin coming out the side here. So we'll put in the 3 fins. Hopefully I can get all of that done today. It should be better because I have an idea from the other hand already worked out, and so it should just be following through with the same kind of. But it's weird because this arm is twisted around, and so it's like trying to map out where the side of the forearm is and where exactly the elbow is, right? And trying to get that into place. So that's going to be a little strange. The angles are going to be weirder on this one than they are on that one. So that might slow us down considerably. And then we do have some terrain underneath that we do have a little bit of terraforming underneath that we need to do. I want this to look like our giant is climbing up out of a hole. That's my shortcut for not having to build the entire giant. Right? But it looks, yeah, so we're going to have like a lot of black concrete around, and then some sort of features that make this look like some sort of hole. And then we'll put some soul sand in here so we have some animation, some bubbling, and stuff like that, you know, to make it look like he's rising on up out. We may even put some water streams in here. Like I'll place some water source blocks here and there, so the water is running down, so it makes it look like the water's dripping down. And I might do that with some blocks too, like inside. I'll hide some water inside, so we'll get the smaller drips too. I think that'll look really cool. And one of the other things I'd like to try to do is to put some vines hanging down to make it look like seaweed hanging off in certain spots. I think that'll be really cool. All right, let's dock our friend again here. My neighbor to the north there, OPG, with his absolutely insane build over there. And I did a tour around the sea again, especially over in this western area, just so I could get Bobby to load these chunks over there, because they're so beautiful up there. That mountain up there is really cool. I'm tempted to terraform that mountain into a volcano. It's really tempting, but you know, I don't want to mar the landscape around it. It's just so beautiful there. All right, let's do this. Let's do this, buddy. Come on over. There we go. We'll do that. We'll do this, this, and this. There we go. That's better. And let's do the sleeping thing. Let's get that done. Of course, you know, I don't have to climb up top to do that. I can just... Yes, you can sleep underwater. Nebula showed me this a very, very long time ago. No thunder. I think what I was doing is, and it might have been on Generations, I was building something under the water, and I kept swimming up to the top and having to swim over to an island or some sort of platform I made up there to do the sleeping. And she's like, you know, you could just like sleep right down there in the bed, in the water. All right, so next we'll manage our inventory. We'll stock up on our supplies. I may even just bring a shulker right over here and drop it right here, but I don't know. We're pretty close to our supply depot area over there. Then we're going to have to try to work the claws off of this first. Or work the claws onto it, I suppose. But it's cool because the... conduit can extend over to there, so we'll have the full benefits of the conduit there. So let's go put that in there for the moment. And same thing with the hatchet. We don't need that. Right now, we can do something like this and this, and all of that stuff I think is pretty good in there. Let's load up on some dirt. And let's get our stuff into place. Okay, we're going to need... Oh, you know what? Let's just work on the block palette of the things we need first. So if we're going to do claws, we need black concrete and we need blackstone. Let's do this. Blackstone right there. More blackstone right there. And black concrete here, and black concrete here. And I think this will be enough to get us going. Now, instead of having the claws coming out of the center of the fingertips, I find it looks a little bit better to have them coming off the tops of them a little bit. But the way this hand is orientated, it's kind of weird to get the direction of the fingertips here. This, I feel, is kind of like at a 45. So I'm thinking something like like this. And but, you know, we do have to keep an eye on this hand over here and try to make the claws look fairly consistent. Like, they don't seem to extend more than 4 blocks past the fingertips themselves. Sounds so that's good. That's good. That's good right there. Now we can make them a little bit thicker in certain spots. Thinking maybe something like that. But I'm thinking this one is probably a little bit too much. I think these claws, because the fingers are curving, they have to be a little more hooky. So let's take that one off out of there. And now this one isn't going to be as bad because it's underwater, so it's not going to show quite as much, but I mean, I know I'm putting this right back where I had it, but so I'm thinking, you know what, maybe this one isn't so bad, right? That's not so bad. I think I'm going to go with that. And remember, you're going to be looking at this from above, really, more than anything else. So and same thing with this one. This one's not bad. It's almost at like a perfect 45. I know that looks a little chunky there, but we'll fix that in a moment. I'm thinking Yeah, this hand is going to be a little more challenging than the other one was. It's just at a twisted, strange kind of angle. Thinking I probably should have done that right there. Just to make it like merge into the hand a little bit better. That looks pretty cool. Now I could cheat a little bit and do something like that. Yeah, I think that'll do it. That's fine for that one. This one's going to be a little weirder here. Yeah, not bad, not bad. Okay, but that's pretty good. Again, you know, this is meant to be looked at from like up here. You can see the claws look quite long. Well, probably a little longer than I'd like. Now, this one's okay, but these two look pretty long. Especially that one. Okay, I think that's a little better. This one still looks a little long, but it's the angle that it's at. I think it'll have to do. Then we need to put a wee pinky claw right here. Excuse me. Still sick, so there's going to be quite a bit of that and coughing throughout the stream. Apologies in advance. All right, so I'm thinking something like maybe something like who knows? Maybe one more of this away. Yeah, this is weird because of the way that this finger is shaped and the angle that it's implied. It's pretty strange. But I think if we stick with something like that, and then we get down here with the black concrete like that. I mean, this one's got to look somewhat smaller than the other ones, right? Because it's a little pinky. Yeah, you know, that's not bad. Now, this thumb claw is weird because it doesn't only curve in this axis in the XY axis. It also curves this way in the XZ axis too. So it's a strange kind of shape. And again, you know, I don't want to use stairs and slabs and wall units to try to smooth out these curves because I'll be here forever messing around with this. So I'm going to impose some limitations on myself here. Some constraints. So I don't wind up just niggling around with this forever. Okay, that's actually, that worked out pretty good, I feel. Let's put in a little bit of depth. That's too much right there, hand, please. And I feel maybe one more, like right there. Feel maybe this one has to come into there, and we can take that one out. How's that? That's better. Oh, some moderation to do. Yeah. Bye-bye. Okay, well, the claws, I feel that'll do it. Now, what's cool about this is the hand isn't really spread out that much, so the webbing between the fingers should go quite quickly. Doing the fins up the forearm is going to be really hard, I feel. Who knows? I thought the hand might be really hard with the claws, but it turned out to be, so far it seems pretty easy. Huxley, buddy, what are you doing down there in the ditch? Come on. Come on up here with Bubba. Come on. I know I've been using Gaston a lot lately. I understand that, buddy. Okay. Let us do this. Okay, we need 3 kinds of glass now. And that means we need to make a new glass. Basic kit. It's an adventuring kit. That's my... Okay. Now, I think this is what we have here. So let's make some black and some cyan. That means I'm going to need some black dye. Gee, I wish I knew a guy. I'll tell you what. Buddy. I forgot if I can get up through here or not. I've forgotten. I don't think he can swim directly up. I think he has to... I think he needs some sort of ramp or platform to climb. Come on, buddy, you can do it. Yeah, there you go. There you go, come on. Almost there. Can you jump 2 blocks? All right, I'm going to have to make a ramp for him at some point. No, come on back. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on up. Come on. There he is. He's such a good boy. Let's do the sleeping thing. Have a little bit of belt of the vitamin C, and by vitamin C I mean caffeine, of course. What I really wanted was some vitamin G today, but I'm all out, so gonna have to pick some up this weekend. And I probably shouldn't be having too much of that anyway right now until I get a little bit stronger. Let's see if I have any black dye here. I probably do. Oh, for shame, I do. I was thinking of going over to the squid farm because the squid farm looks just so cool. Let's just do it anyway. How about black glass? I have regular glass. I think we're going to need more, so let's make at least 2 stacks of the stuff we need. And I think I have an empty shulker. Good. All right. Let's go over to the squid farm, just because it's cool. It's not too far away. It's right over there. I don't think it'll render in from here, though. I think it's more than... I mean, you can see the shoreline right there, and it's just beyond that shoreline. So, just out of range. I think if I increased my render distance past 64, I have it maxed out at 64 right now. I think I can set it higher than that through Bobby, and Bobby will pseudo render in those chunks out there. But I'd rather it did not do that. Ha. I can hear a ghasty of the unfriendly variety. Of the unhappy variety. The cross or displeased ghast. Oh, here we are. This is such a fun little build. Good heavens. It's an embarrassment of riches, everyone. Yeah, so if you want to AFK on the levitation platform up there, that's over here. And it brings you right up to here. And then you can do your AFK up here, and then when you're up here and you're looking down, you can see how the little squid is dying. Wow, look at how many. Whoa, whoa! Ho, 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 ho. The old squid farm is a cranking. Look at that. That's terrifying. Good Lord. I learned a lot about squid farms this season. Oh, look at the terrain out there. Doesn't that look so cool from up here? And look, we can see home sweet home. At least we can see the western shore of it. I if we just be a little patient with Bobby as it simulates those chunks out there. There it is. That looks so cool. Look at that. Our little island home with our wacky iron farm. All right, let's head on back. Now, the cool thing about this is you just do this. And if you crouch, you won't bounce. Just like that. And you're good to go. Look at that, man. All right, let's head on back. Bye-bye, Squiddy Farm. You know, I could just terraform this whole area, this town, everything, and just make a whole scene out of that whole area, you know? That's a little superfluous, but make an entire scene out of that area. That would be really cool. But we have things to do. We have Fomorian giants to build. There. He needs to shut up. He's making too much noise. All right. Let's head on back. So we need to make some cyan glass, and we need to make some black glass for the membrane between the fingers. So Nova says we're about halfway through the season. Of course, he said that about maybe 3 months ago, too. So, but the takeaway from that is, we still got time to build. What I would really like to do is make 4 of these at the cardinal points, and then wherever there's a structure, make the structure like integrated into a dead giant's body here on the island. And that's but I really don't think I'm going to have time for that. Even if we're halfway through the season, I still don't think we're going to have time for that. I just built too slow for that. One of the things I wanted to do was lower the render distance now. I mean, it looks super cool here, but let's put it at about 32 chunks. I think that's good enough where it's nice and scenic as we're building, but it's a little bit easier on the terrain generation and stuff. So, we'll do this. We'll do that. Oh, that's 1 for 1 with a die, huh? Okay. Whatever. So then we'll do this, and we'll do that. Excuse me. Still have the cough. And then for the cyan, I'll do that. And that. Okay, so let's put the dies back in the die chest right there. Good. Okay. And I think we'll leave Huxley here for the moment. We'll do that. He's getting a little soggy. Like here. This is what I'm trying to do. Like like that. I'm wondering, does Riptide have a 1, 2, and 3? I don't think it does. Yeah, it does, and we do have Riptide 3. Okay, whatever. It just still does seem a little bit lame. Okay, let's do this. Okay. So I'm thinking The idea is it's dark where it attaches, and then you get the cyan in between, and then the white is like glints and highlights and stuff. So I'm going to do something like that. Maybe something like this. Like this, and then it's like filling in the webbing in there, right? And so we can do something like that. Pretty cool. Yeah, that's all right. And then I think it's something like this, and then we could put like just a few like glints and highlights here and there, especially on the outer edge, like maybe that one. But you got to use the white very sparingly because it's super jarring looking. Fill in that gap. That gap should be a cyan gap, I'm thinking. Looks like I'm going to have to tackle that from the top down. I'm thinking something like that. We can make some transitional pieces like that. Maybe that'll help smooth the claw out a little bit. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. Again, you know, I could niggle around with this thing for hours, but the idea is just to get something that's close enough. All right, now ones like this are going to be a little harder. Because, you know, this kind of stuff is stretchy, right? And that adds a little bit of weirdness to it. And I'm thinking, uh-oh, why, you little so-and-so. Now, this is weird because, you know, This does not have the loyalty and everything on it. This is just for swimming around, so it's not a very useful weapon. This is a little tough too, right? So I do have my sword in my chest, but look at this guy. If we get close to him, but it is quite risky. There we go. Spot of copper out of that too. Oh, non-obtainable tridents. Those suck. Really? Whatever. Let's do this. So we do have that. I am thinking this right here, though, should be a lighter cyan color. And I'm thinking we've got that kind of a thing. Yeah, this is going to be that's a tough one. And here I'm also going to want to go with, you know, a lighter cyan color like that. Yeah, I think that'll do it. Again, you know, I don't want to do too much here, because then it becomes an indistinguishable mess, right? And that's the key to this, right? Is getting just the amount in there. You know, this is why Nebula, you know, of course Nova, Shot Mountain, Genie, Villager, really the rest of the buffoons who, you know, they're much better at this than I am. This is not my kind of build style at all. That's why when they're building, I'm taking notes, because okay, so I'm thinking maybe we do something like that. Then we come along like this. I know we've got some black glass under there too, but we just do a little something like that, and then we just need a couple of highlights in some really key areas. Like maybe there, maybe one right there. Like maybe this. Maybe that should be moved back there a little bit, and then a darker color right there to kind of smooth that transition a little bit. Dark one right under that. Yeah, that one's kind of hard, but I think that'll do. And then this one's also going to be weird because of the membrane's going to stretch across like that. That's going to be a very weird kind of shape. You know, I guess that's okay. And then you've got these middle bits. Maybe just a little something like that. And then maybe a highlight there and like one right there. Yeah, maybe something like that. And again, you know, you may notice that I'm not going down here and looking underneath. Yeah, it's meant to be viewed from the top. You know, that's not bad. I think that's okay. All right, I feel like this hand is finished. So much for the, quote, easy part. All right, I'm at time to take a break, so let's do that. I'm going to run about 3 minutes of ads, and I will be right back. Hey there, and we're back. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, okay, we're good there. Switch over to the display scene. We'll log back onto the server. And welcome back to part 2 of the stream. All right. So in part 1 of the stream, we were able to complete this really cool looking hand. It did. I gotta say, you know, that does look pretty menacing, doesn't it? But so doesn't that. I may put some lighting effects down here to add some contrast and stuff, so when you're above and you're looking down at it in the water, you'll be able to at least see the silhouette of it. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to put the fins up onto the elbow, and this is going to be weird. So I'm probably going to sketch this in with quite a bit of dirt first, just to get the kind of shape that I want. And I think what I'll do is I'll trace a line right up along the forearm. I'll do that first. Let's get this junk out of my inventory. Oh, this is where I have all the other stuff in the shulkers. Thunder. I already have plenty of glass and things like Please. Still, we got to go over to the squid farm, and that's always fun. Dirt. Thunder, where's the dirt? I thought I had just like a big old shulker full of dirt. Blackstone, Blackstone. That might be one of these, right? No, it is not. So it's probably one of these. Blackstone, smooth basalt, tough. So what I was thinking of is skinning this with the basalt and stuff, but I don't know. I just might leave the... I just might wind up leaving the cobblestone. Yeah, I might wind up doing that. I'm not sure. Because the cobblestone does look kind of scaly, right? So there is that. But I can't believe I don't have a big old box of dirt. I mean, we can always get one. I mean, it's easy enough to obtain. I know I have 4 stacks of dirt here in the inventory, but one can never have enough dirt. And I'm thinking there's probably a whole shulker of dirt right here somewhere. I'm just not... Whatever. Oof. I made it. No, not up. We need to be in here. Let's see what we have going here. Okay, no shulkers full of dirt laying around. I know I have this chest of dirt here. And I'm thinking, again, I'm just like spitballing here, but what if we were just to do something, you know, like this? Let's just do it like this in one fell swoop. Something like that. And then whatever we don't use, we'll bring back, of course, but let's head on down here. Then we'll come over to... Ow, my face. We'll come on over to here. Guess I gotta reset the playlist. See, I think you cover more ground when you arc through the air and come down, as opposed to just like directly through the water like this. I don't know, maybe I still don't know how to use the trident. It's very likely. All right, let's try to sketch out this fin. Kind of feature here. All right, this is going to be kind of strange, but I'm thinking one of these is going to come right off of this. And I'm thinking it's going to be like something like, wow, it might even be something more like that. Yeah, might do that for like the first fin, and then maybe the second fin is going to do something like would help if I actually put some of this dirt that I went through the trouble fetching. It would help if I put that in my inventory. There we go. Make things a little better. Okay, now we can work. Okay, I really like where that one's placed. This one here is going to be weird, only because I'm going to be like a little too close to it, I think. Excuse me. Yeah, that's not too bad. So we'll have a fin here, we'll have another one there, and then we need to do one more like right up through there somewhere. And that's going to be the weirdest one. We might have to do this upper fin on Gaston's back. So let's get in front of this. Yeah, because see, they're going to curve around like that, and the elbow isn't exactly pointy, so it's strange. It's strange. But I'm thinking like right along that profile. Here, all sorts of mobos inside. All right, thinking like maybe start it there. Maybe something like that. Let's take a look. I mean, do you see how hard it is to like place this stuff? You have to place it and then step back and have a look. Okay, that's all right from this angle, I feel. In fact, if anything, it's got to come forward by about 1 block, it looks. It looks to me like it needs to do that. All right. But I think we're going to have to build this aghast back. I have a feeling that these fins on this forearm are going to be very, very hard to do. Because they're going to extend like out like that. And out like that. And so it's going to be an angular plane. It's going to be really hard to do. This one should be moved forward a little bit more, I think, like that, and then up that way, just to get the plane right. So it curves. Yeah, all right, let's try that. Okay, so we'll do this. The thing will be to try to get some sort of arc out that way. All right, so, all right, now working with planes and then extending the planes, that's... Okay, so we need to add an arc this way a little bit. So that means come out with this one, come out with that one a little bit more. And then maybe something like... And this would be the leading edge of it. Let's get alongside the hand. That's not so bad. I think that'll do it. Let's just build it out. Now we're going to need some materials here. We're going to need some black stone, some black concrete. Wow, he's a tough boy, huh? He's a tough one. Let's do this. What? Eh? Oh, it might be. So all of this stuff inside is hollow. And it's full of mobs. That arm over there. I went inside, I broke inside and lit it all up and everything. So I might have to eventually do the same over here. Okay, let's do this. Again, let's go with the black stone. Black concrete. Then we're going to have to go with the glass eventually. Maybe we can just go with one stack of each. Like that. Excuse me. Let's do this. Oh, I guess the dolphin quote helped us. Okay, what the... Are you kidding me with the pufferfish? Really? All right, so we can do that. All right. Maybe some concrete next to try to bolster this up. With some attachment points. Something like that. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, and again, now this has to come across somewhat like this. All right, so let's load up with the glass. Next, and we'll see if we can make any progress with this. So how was I doing this the last time? Last time I had a really good method. It might be worth having a swim over there and having a look. What I was doing was I was following the outline of the black stone blocks to the glass blocks a little bit. So I would just stagger them downward a little. But I don't think that's going to quite work here. This way I would have to stagger them upward. Like, for example, the next next line of these would have to do something like this here. Right, and then I just try to follow this shape over, right? Like, kind of like that. Because it's supposed to like extend off of the arm like this. Because the arm is going up, right? So the attachment points are like over there. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to have it as easy on this side as I had it on the other side. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be quite as easy on this side. It's just the position of the arm. That's not that bad. We're doing here. Okay, we're doing good there. I think something like that right there. Maybe something like that there. Let's pull back and let's have a look. I think that needs something like that at that point. Let's have a look. Okay, that's all right. I know I'm never going to be 100% satisfied with this, so it's just like, you know, do what you can do with it. And I think that's going to have to do. All right, I think of the three, this is going to be the easier one to do. Let's pull back and let's have a look here. All right, that's pretty cool. Now this one's going to have to extend out this way, and this is going to really suck because this is coming out of the water. So any daylight that we can get is going to be better. It's going to help us with lighting. You know, I just noticed I'm streaming Buffooncraft, and I have the Generations scene set. Scene collection. Buffooncraft over now. I wonder if I'll still get the display. Okay, it's loading in. It's loading in. Okay. Hey, welcome to Buffooncraft, everyone. Okay, let's see if we can figure out some way to build this out. This one looks like it's really short, but see here. Thinking this next bit will have to do something like that, maybe. And we may have to build this on. We may have to build this a ghast pack. We might have to do that. I know what I said. I know what I said. Bear with me. I'm trying to build like other people build, you know, where they just kind of build. Let's see if we got a satisfying enough result. Again, the idea is to come off the side here. Okay, it's not that bad. I just think it needs to come out a little wider around the side there. But not much, like about by a block or two. That's not bad for just winging it or finning it or whatever. So maybe... now... Concrete, please. I'm going to put dirt here so my inventory doesn't keep switching. Can I reach under that with the... Yes, yes I can. And actually, thinking that might be the way to go. We get rid of this. And then this one. Thinking this one actually does that. So I'm thinking something like this. It's still not really spread out that much, but we'll see. Of course, it is the position of the arm too, right? I mean... Still can't help but feel like that should be extended right about up to there, though. Like here, it hooks in a little bit too fast. No hands, not like that. Like this. Maybe that does that. Instead of that, maybe that does that. And I usually do this kind of stuff in and around here. Just a little bit of depth. Do that and that. That's not bad. That's a pretty good curve. That little piece there looks a little offensive though. Let's see if we can take that out. I think that'll look better when it's glass. So that means this one has to go. Okay. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that's not bad. You know, a little review, a gas back would probably be in order. They're shut. Serpent monster! If anybody would know about a serpent monster, it would be shut. Dude, I had to throw that in there. How you doing today, sir? Happy Friday. Sure, don't tell anybody. It's a little late for that level of discretion shot. It's a little late for that. Let's see. Anyways, what time is it right now? 3:38. You're probably on your way home from the job, right? Or did you release yourself early today? All right, now comes the hardest part here. We've got to put in the webbing. Already home. Have you brought on the comfy chair? All right, this part is always difficult. It's like getting this translucent webbing between the hands or between the fins, the fin membranes, because it has to rise up. But you also want to think there's kind of like a bit of a sag in between. Excuse me. I decided on Fridays I'm going to leave an hour early and just use an hour of paid overtime. Okay, cool. Excuse me. I'm still ill. All right, let's do this. Let's just start placing blocks, and then we'll see how it goes. I'm thinking. This kind of pattern, something like this, and maybe something like that, and then we might possibly come off of it. This stuff here is always the hardest part to do. Yeah, like Shut's much better at this kind of stuff than I am. I'm gonna do that temporarily. In fact, you know what? That's a good highlight block actually, and that would be an intermediary block right there. So I'm thinking maybe something a bit like that. Yeah. Yes. No. Yes. As the Frenchman say. And you know what? Let's just put one right up there. All right. Let's do the sleeping thing, and then we'll surface, and we'll have ourselves a butcher. Because the shape of these two will really inform the shape of that last one. I'm thinking it will anyway. Prevent us from getting a little too wiggly-niggly with it. I am not. Yeah, you guys are much better at this kind of stuff. This is not my build style at all. I mean, I can get away with stuff like this, but hopefully I'm going to get away with it today, but we'll see. All right. It looks like there's is there a hole right there that has to be filled in, or? Like right around there? No, not really. But you know what? I'm thinking we do a little something like that. Just to add a little depth, you know? It's weird because this fin kind of wraps around the arm as well as going up the arm at the same time, so it's like, do I have the angle steep enough on it? I probably don't. Yeah, it probably has to go up a little bit on the side, huh? Like this one kind of follows the arm, but this one kind of doesn't. So I think it needs to be a little steeper on the sides. Yeah, and I've got to think these ones are going to be more vertical than they are horizontal. So I'm thinking we go chip this off the side here. And do something, maybe something a little bit better like that. Bring it up a little bit more, as the Frenchman say. let's do maybe that. And do I have any black concrete? Yes, I do. Now let's try this. Okay, see, that follows the line of the elbow a little bit better, the forearm a little bit better. Dolphins, please, give me my blocks back. But now, you know, it's just filling in the webbing in a satisfying kind of way. And again, just trying to be conscious of what we're going to be able to see and what we're not. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. And then maybe this will help transition that a little bit better. You know, that's not bad. I think it's going to have to do. And then from below here, we can just, this will add a little bit of depth. Something like that along there, thereabouts. And maybe something like that. Because a lot of this, you know, you can't get the shape, so you got to suggest the shape. You know, Nova's really a master at that. Okay, we'll smooth that out a little bit. I'm also thinking like, maybe one highlight block is enough. I was thinking maybe two, put another one right about there, but I think that'll do it. All right, let's make a pass with Gaston up there, and let's have ourselves a look before we try to put in that third fin. Now, Shot, I have to contact you. I have to DM you after the stream because I'm not certain when we're going to be accessing the end. I'm told we're about halfway through the season, but I'm not really certain what that means in regards of us accessing the end. But when we are ready for that dragon fight, I've got an idea, and you might be interested in joining me for it. By the way, the deal with the leads that we were talking about the other day is the leads actually pop outward before they drop. So if you're under them, they'll go over you and you'll miss them. So it's actually better to be directly in front of them, then they'll pop outward and into your inventory. That's what I've found anyway. Oh, it's going to be really interesting. I just don't know if we can pull it off or not, but I'll DM you after the stream. I don't want to reveal it right now, but that's one of those things it's best, I feel, if it's just a sudden surprise. Okay, so we do have that hand over there. And now we're working on this hand. And again, you know, this is beneath the ocean, but I might put some lighter blocks. Like I might actually put some sand around this later, and then this will contrast with the sand a little bit better. But now it's just a matter of getting these fins here. And I gotta say, I feel like this fin could bulge outward right around here a little bit more. Yeah, you know, I feel it should come out. I feel it should come out like one block all the way around like that. And then we'll remove those black stone bits and replace that with glass. And then it'll come out, it'll just pop out a little bit more. And you know what? Maybe even this will do something like.
Well, see you, babe.
He's so cool.
Sage, welcome on in now that we've got 11 more minutes left of the stream. By the way, you should be able to see the auto shoutouts up there in the chat for both Sage and the Mighty Shut Mountain. Both fellow buffoons. Please go check them out when you get the chance. Shut also moderator of the stream as well. So there is that. So I'm thinking maybe that kind of a shape looks a wee bit better. So let's get into here. Yeah, this is a little more difficult to build a gas to back like this. It's not impossible, but I mean, there are just certain blocks you can't reach, right? So all right, maybe some sort of shape, a little bit like that. No, hands, just calm down now. Calm down. There we go. Better. Yeah, it's a weird shape to try to make because, you know, you want it to extend out away from the elbow, but it's got to kind of follow the axis of the elbow as well, right? So it's pretty weird. Hey, I didn't miss it. Shut does order, I do chaos. That's, yeah, okay. All right, so I don't know. I think it's something like that. Let's back it up. Let's get the long view. Yeah, I feel like that's a little better. We just have to now come up with some sort of satisfying way to fill in the membrane in between. How am I doing? I've got 9 more minutes of said stream. Yeah, I'm thinking something like that. Right. All right. Let's go park our friend here, and then we'll. Careful, Sage. Don't go in the direction of a timeout. Uh-oh. We've got conflict brewing in the chat, everyone. There we go.
Why do you always complicate things that are really quite simple?
It's what I do.
Actually, I think I've been doing very, very well not overcomplicating this. Again, you know, this isn't my build style at all, but I've been making a concerted effort. Like one of the things constraints I've put myself on is not using slabs and stairs and wall units to try to smooth out the curves. I've been denying myself that just so I won't start to get into all this wiggly-niggly, you know, placing and removing of blocks constantly to try to get, you know, the exact shapes. You know, so I've just been confining myself to just good old blocks just for that reason. Personal growth goals. All right, let's get up into here. All right, so thinking, and yeah, I actually do that every now and then. It's something like that. It's something like that. All right, and that's a good enough grade between those. I think that's, I think that's going to be okay. Now, the underside of this, I'm actually a little bit concerned with looking at this. Thankfully, this won't show that. Well, I don't know. That's not so bad. I think there's a little too much bulk right there, and that could use some trimming. But I think all in all, that looks pretty good. That could use some trimming, I feel. Yeah, but you know, that's pretty good. No, this looks out of sorts, but that's okay. Let's just take it out. Ah, the sound of breaking glass in Minecraft. All right. Okay. It's all right. We've got a little bit of a sag right there, but that's how that's supposed to be, I feel. All right, I like that second fin. I'm satisfied with that. I think we'll just keep that like it is. At our respective ages, it's only wise to examine any extra bulk on the underside. Patting my belly right there. Of course, that being the second. Hold on a sec. While I try to think of the word I want to say. The second shut mountain innuendo of the stream. Yeah, okay. That was a little bit of work on that one. But I'm actually pleasantly surprised I've got 2 out of the 3 fins here. I really am. Considering how slow that arm went. This one's screaming right along. I mean, we put in the claws, we put in the webbing. We got 2 of the fins in. The third fin, of course, is going to be the hardest. It's going to have the weirdest looking angle on it. And right up to where the elbow isn't very well defined on this either. So that's going to be strange. Let's make a quick pass around. We'll make a pass around this hand over here, this arm here, and then we'll come back and we'll make a pass around this one, and then we'll a little bit of a sag is also normal. Stop, just please stop. Yeah, see how the elbow's a little bit kind of rounded because the bicep is twisted down and the elbow, you don't really have the point of the elbow. So it's just the way that, you know, when this voxelized. Wow, does that look menacing? Look how menacing that looks. That's so cool. Yeah, it's just the way the voxelized, the voxelization of the 3D model turned out. So, wow, does that look menacing? Whew. Look. Come here, buddy. Come on. You know you wanna. Please. You know what's fun on Generations is to be flying around on the Elytra and to fly into and do an aerial mount of the Ghast. That is fun. It's not hard to do. It's just fun. Again, really, please. Please. I almost could have gotten that with a trident. All right. It's just because I want to end the stream. That's all. So I think I'm sliding off of it. So maybe... There. Okay, that's better. Now again, let's see if my system for fetching the lead. Yes, all right, that does work. Okay, great, great. Okay, so on this hand, we installed the claws and the webs, and we got the fins, and then we wind up modifying the fins a little bit. So we've got the 3 fins jutting out of the forearm. Oh, we have a dirt block that has to be removed down there. A couple of them, as a matter of fact. Okay, have to clean those up. And then this stream, we went on to this one. And I was really surprised at how fast this hand came together over here. But I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. We already had the palette and kind of like the system worked out from that hand. So it's just kind of trying to emulate that over here, duplicate it over here. And again, you know, we'll have to have some lighter blocks down there so it contrasts a little bit better, and maybe some lighting effects, sepicles perhaps, somewhere around there. And then we have the fins. We have that one that is subsurface. And then we have this one. And then the difficult one is going to be this final one. And it'll probably jut up like right around there, come up off an angle like that, and then double back and hitch up that way. That's going to be difficult. I might try to finish that tonight. All right. I think maybe if I hit this point right here, it'll be a good pose for a thumbnail. Yeah, we're a little bit over the stream time, but we're not that bad. But today is Kachi's early release day, so I have to be conscious, very strict with the time. Again, you know, I want to be able to catch enough of the second hand here. All right, that's pretty good. And maybe we'll head down towards the surface of the water. Let's do an F5. Let's see what we got here. That's not a bad thumbnail. That'll do. Okay, let us log out and let's see what the raid situation is like. I may forego the raid today. Well, we'll see. Oh wow, we have a few to choose from. I haven't seen Jeannie in a while. Let's go over and let's pay Jeannie a visit. Yes, like that. Okay, up in the chat, you should see the raid message. You can copy and paste that into the chat if you would like to join us on this raid. And I always encourage the viewers to join us on these raids, even if you can't stay for the entire stream. Please drop in, at least say hi if you feel so inclined. A follow, some bits and subs, that would be really cool. Family-friendly viewers, as Sage is reminding you. Jeannie's stream is intended for mature audiences. I can get a little spicy with some shenanigans in there, a little bit of language, but she is super, super fun. She's a fellow buffoon. We have a lot of shared community. Chances are you'll see people in there that you know already. And just let's set up that raid itself. Let's get the raid counting down. Yeah, and there it is. Okay, just remember that we do this Buffooncraft stream every Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Our next stream will be on Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That will be Kachi time. Kachi might want to continue Left 4 Dead 2, the both of us going through Left 4 Dead 2, which was fun last stream. I enjoyed that. And then the stream after that will be Wednesday from noon to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Wednesday, that will be Generations, and we should be in Baby Zombie Rush beta, doing some Baby Zombie Rush beta stuff. So, okay, everyone enjoy the rest of your afternoon, your evening, your morning, wherever you happen to be. Join us again next time. We are raiding out to Cheska's Genie right now. Bye for now, everyone.